Wow, am I happy you are here. I had a morning of mornings and I'm exhausted. You can tell from the black rings under the eyes that I am just very tired. I didn't sleep much last night. I know I can talk to you about this because you're going to understand. So this is what's awesome about this YouTube channel is like I know pretty much who I'm talking to and I speak to some of you on the personal level quite a bit and we are going to connect on this. So what am I talking about now? I'm Cliff. This is Life with MS, and let's get into that. Okay, thank you for sticking around. What happened? Well, I guess in short, there's nothing short about this. About 3 years ago, I started getting some tooth pain going on this side and a molar. And I went in, they looked at it, and they said, well, you have to have that tooth removed. It's a thing called resorption where there's a couple of cells in there that are basically eating the tooth from the inside out. So it's basically, from my understanding, my immune system attacking my bones in my mouth, which are my teeth. Are teeth bones? I don't know. Anyway, it's not exclusive to people with autoimmune diseases, but it's more prevalent in people with autoimmune diseases from what I understand. And the way my oral surgeon described it was basically when you have your first set of teeth, you know, like when your baby teeth fall out, they don't come with the roots. There are cells inside the gum line that eat the roots. They dissolve or absorb the roots. And you lose those cells after you lose those teeth. Well, some of us don't lose all those cells. And some of those cells become rogue as we age, and they start attacking the teeth that we have now, and they attack them from the inside out. So I have this tooth that, for lack of a better term, is basically rotting out in the back. And I thought, well, it's starting to get a little bit painful now. It hasn't bothered me at all in 3 years, but it's starting to get painful now. I think I need to go get it removed. So I went and saw my oral surgeon, set up an appointment, and I was going to have that appointment this morning. Well, you would have thought I would have learned by now that the anxiety that comes with this disease is like really difficult, right? You know that. I know that. But the people that don't have this disease, I'm not sure understand that. And I have kind of made it a habit of when I have to go get a lot of lab work done or a lot of tests done, that I ask the doctor for something to help with the anxiety. And for some reason, and I don't know why, I didn't do that this time. I didn't ask the oral surgeon of all people for something to help with the anxiety. You know, basically they're going to reach inside my head and pull out a piece of my body and then plug the hole and ship me out the door while I'm under anesthesia. Why in the heck didn't I think that might cause some level of anxiety? So I didn't sleep all night knowing this appointment was coming up today. And of course, because I didn't sleep, my MS kicked into full gear and my whole body felt like it was on fire last night. And it's just, I don't know if this happens to you, but it starts in the legs, even though the feet can be cold, and then everything else just feels like almost like a fever heat, and it just gets crazy. Anyway, so that was going on. So of course I didn't sleep, and then this morning I woke up, my hands are numb, my vision's going in and out. It was just a hot mess. So I called the oral surgeon and I told them, listen, I'm having a lot of problems with my multiple sclerosis this morning. I think it's probably induced by the fact that I'm under a lot of stress from the anxiety from this thing, and maybe there's something you could prescribe to help with this. And they said, well, that's not something we typically do, but we'll talk to the doctor. And I'm thinking, actually, that is totally something people typically do, but whatever. So anyway, they called me back, and yes, they prescribed me something, and I moved the appointment out a week. Whatever, we're going to get that done. I'm going to do it. But the point is, I should have learned from my last 5 to 6 years of dealing with this disease that, like, I need a little extra help when it comes to making decisions around things that cause a lot of anxiety, like medical procedures. And I've always done decently well with things that I would have never done before by having a little, I have to be careful what I say on YouTube because they'll block some of the stuff. I guess I could say Valium. Valium is probably the best thing. Something to knock the anxiety down so that the MS doesn't get a foothold and the anxiety doesn't go crazy and I have all kinds of issues. Anyway, that seems to work really well for me personally. Of course, I'm just a patient. I'm not a doctor. This is not medical advice. I'm just telling you my experience. So I guess what I'm getting at here is I would have thought by now I would have had this like tool bag of things that I could go to when I'm having issues like what I'm having today with the stress causing the MS stuff. And the anxiety with this disease is just absolutely insane. Like, I can be cool as a cucumber, and then something like this will just start a snowball effect of symptoms after the anxiety basically sets things off. And it just doesn't seem to stop. So I'm going to do this though. I'm going to go in and I'm going to get that tooth extracted, and they're going to have to dig around in there a little bit and pull out the roots, because the roots go up towards my sinus cavity, and they said we're probably going to puncture the sinus cavity. And of course that really put my mind at ease. I'm like, oh great. They're like, don't get a cold because you can't blow your nose or do any of that stuff for 2 weeks while that hole heals. And I'm thinking, well, I have a 7-year-old and he brings home all kinds of stuff from school. How am I not going to like get a cold or something? Anyway, all these things are like just compiling and making like the perfect anxiety ball for my MS to go, ooh, what an excellent time to just really mess with Cliff. So now I hand my story over to you and I ask you, how do you deal with your MS anxiety? Like, this stuff is gnarly and it's crippling. And yes, we have things out there that help with it, but there are times that, there's just too much anxiety. I mean, that's life, right? Like, I'm going to have to face this situation sooner than later, and I'm going to have to deal with it. It won't be easy, and the conditions will never be perfect, but what do you find helps with your anxiety? I told you mine. I want to know yours. So I'm keeping this video just a little bit short today because I'm super tired. And luckily it's Friday and I'm going to have a little bit of time to rest before the kid comes home from school. And then we can kick it into full gear and have a good weekend. So if you have hints, tips, or tricks on how to deal with your anxiety, whether it be something that's chronic or whether it be something that's just occasional, I would love to hear in the comments below. And I think there's a lot of people out there with this condition that would love to read the comments below and see what you have to say. Because I think everybody with MS has their own way of dealing with this thing. And some people are really good at it and some people are okay at it. I am definitely constantly learning personally. I'm not great at it. I'm a lot better than I used to be. But screw this anxiety and screw this disease, because I want to be doing things with my Friday other than worrying about getting dental work done. I'm Cliff. This is Life with MS. And before I'm out, I'm going to tell you, have a wonderful weekend. You guys are awesome. I am so excited I have someone to talk to with this stuff that understands. Just as a side note, I could tell that the people at the clinic this morning had no experience with MS and anxiety. Like, they were really just kind of like shell shocked that I said, yeah, it's causing all kinds of like other symptoms to flare up. And they were like, what is he even talking about? So can't win them all. I will talk to you soon. I'm out.